Hi everyone, today I'm going to be showing you an easy way to make a Christmas stocking using a round loom. For this project I am using a 24 peg round loom. I also used 2 different colors in yarn. For the cuff of the stocking I used white blanket yarn in size super bulky. And for the red I used Uber Luxe yarn in size super bulky and the color Cranberry. You're also going to need a loom hook and a yarn needle. To begin, we're going to take the white yarn for the cuff and make a slip knot. We're going to make a loop and pull the yarn through it, then carefully pull the strands to tighten and to resize it. Then place that loop on the starting peg and we're going to E-wrap clockwise around the loom. Make sure you're not pulling the yarn too tightly or it might make it harder to work with later. Once you finish the first round, push the yarn down to the bottom of the loom. Then repeat the same pattern around the loom a second time until you get back to the starting point. So now you're going to take the loom hook and pull the bottom loop up and over the top loop so that it's off the peg. Once you are done, push the yarn down to the bottom of the loom again. Then E-wrap and knit again around the loom in the same way as before. So continue E-wrapping and knitting the same way until you have 25 rows done, or around 8 inches of cuff. What I love about this pattern is that you're going to use the same type of stitch for the whole stocking, so that makes it a lot easier to do. To finish the cuff, we're going to be folding it in half through the inside of the loom. Then just snip the working yarn, leaving about a 6-inch strand. With that strand, make another slip knot, making sure it's not too tight. And place it on the last peg. We're going to align all the loops with the corresponding pegs. So find the first loop you made, which is the one with the strand, and place that on the first peg. Then just follow along the rim, placing each loop onto each peg. Once you place the first one, the rest will be easier to place. Before you place the last couple of loops, make sure you already tuck the 2 strands into the cuff. Now we're going to start the second color. Again, make a slip knot with the yarn and place the loop on the first peg. Then carefully lift up the last 2 loops and tuck the red strand into the cuff. Then place the white loops back onto the loom. We're going to be knitting the 2 colors together, so E-wrap again around the loom in the new color. Then pull both of the white loops up and over the peg. The first one might be a little tricky, but it will get easier as you go along. To do the body of the stocking, continue to E-wrap and knit around the loom until the red part measures around 8 inches. Then we're going to make the heel of the stocking. For this stocking, I think I would really recommend using the blanket yarn because it is a lot easier to knit with, especially once you get to the heel. I used this Luxe yarn for the body this time because it was the only one I could find in red, but it was a bit difficult to use. The strands unravel easily, making it hard to knit with. In the past, I've used only blanket yarn for the whole stocking, and that was better. But if you want a thick stocking, then definitely use the Luxe yarn. Once you have those 8 inches and you get to the last row, do not knit all the way around. Leave the last 7 pegs unknit, meaning leave the 2 loops on each peg. Then here I am taking an extra piece of yarn to mark the first peg that was left unknit. We are not going to knit this into the stocking. This is just to mark the place so that we don't get lost later on while making the heel. Then from what would usually be the start of a round after the last peg, count 7 pegs and also mark it with another piece of yarn. In total, you should have 14 pegs. Then continue to wrap only until you get to the marker, and then knit this row. We are going to be working within these 2 markers for the heel. We are not going to be going all the way around the loom. Starting where we left off, we are going to wrap backwards in the opposite direction for a total of 13 pegs. This should get you back to the first marker. Each row we're going to be decreasing the amount of pegs we wrap. Starting again where we left off, wrap the next 12 pegs in the opposite direction. You should end up in the second to last peg. For this process, I would recommend writing down on a piece of paper the numbers 13 down to 4, then marking off the rows as you get them done, just so you don't lose your place. For the next row, wrap 11 pegs in the opposite direction and then knit them. I'm not going to be showing the knitting part, meaning where I pull the loops up and over the pegs, because then this video would be much longer, but basically we're following the same pattern as before. Starting where you left off, knit the next 10 pegs in the opposite direction. For the next row, wrap the next 9 pegs and then finish knitting them. Starting where you left off, knit the next 8 pegs again in the opposite direction. Next row, wrap in the opposite direction for 7 pegs. Wrap and knit again in the other direction for the next 6 pegs. We are almost to the smallest part of the heel. Here, wrap 5 pegs. Finally, we're going to wrap only 4 pegs. This is the smallest part of the heel. From here on out, we're going to be increasing the number of pegs for each row, adding 1 extra peg at the end of each row. Next row, E-wrap the next 5 pegs. For this row, wrap 6 pegs going in the opposite direction. E-wrap 7 pegs and finish knitting this row. For this row, wrap and knit 8 pegs. Starting where you left off, E-wrap the next 9 pegs going in the opposite direction. For this row, E-wrap and knit 10 pegs. For this row, E-wrap and knit 11 pegs. For this row, E-wrap and knit 12 pegs. For this row, E-wrap and knit 13 pegs. This will be the only row that goes over the marker. Now finish the row, E-wrap and knit the pegs to get yourself back to the official start of the round. Here you can now easily see the heel sticking out. We're going to remove the markers, and from here on we're going to be wrapping normally all the way around the loom. For the instep and toe of the stocking, wrap and knit around the loom until you have around 7 more inches of stocking from the heel. You can make the foot a little longer if you wish, but for me I think this is a good length to have a proportional stocking. If you want to have a different colored toe, then you can wrap 4 inches for the instep, then tie in the new color at the beginning of a round, and then wrap 6 more rounds with that new color. To finish the stocking, we're going to cut the working yarn, leaving a strand about 20 inches long. Then feed that strand through a yarn needle. Starting with the first peg, use the needle to carefully lift off the loop from the bottom and off of the loom. Continue until all the loops are off of the loom. If you use thick yarn like this one, you won't be able to see any holes in your stocking. But if you use thinner yarn, there might be some holes near where the heel starts. So I'm going to show you how to close those up. If you don't need this, then you can just skip this step and go on to close the toe. So first we're going to turn the stocking inside out. Then cut a piece of the same yarn that is about 12 inches long. Feed one side of it through a yarn needle and make a slip knot on the other end. Then insert the needle on one side of the hole and out the other side. Make sure to only use the loops on top closest to you. Don't go all the way through the stocking. Then feed the needle through the slip knot and tighten it down. For each opening, we're going to be doing the same thing, inserting the needle from the right and out the left using only the top loops. When you gently pull on the yarn, the opening should close up. Once you get to the bottom and are satisfied with how the stocking looks, you can then weave the end through the stocking and make a knot. Then just cut the extra yarn. When you are done, flip the stocking right side in again. To close the toe, just gently pull on the yarn until it closes. If you have very chunky yarn like mine, it might leave a little hole in the toe, but we're going to knit through it anyway. So put your needle on one side and out the opposite side, going from side to side, then up and down a few times. Then just make a knot with the yarn and weave in the ends, cutting off any extra yarn. And there you have it, your very own home knit Christmas stocking. I hope you liked this tutorial. Please tell me what you think in the comments below and make sure to subscribe for more videos like this one. Thanks for watching.